Can you please tell us a little bit about yourself, your background?
Well, I studied acupuncture. I've been to India many times on meditation retreats and doing spiritual work for years. I used to climb mountains in Nepal, and when I was up there, there was a place in a certain valley that had this pristine water at about 9,000 feet. So we would go and drink this water and swim. They had hot springs, and the water all originated from high up in the Himalayas. And when the snow would melt and the rain would come, then it would go down through these aquifers and pick up all the minerals in the water and then come out in these springs down below. So we over the years I thought, wow, if I could just get water in the city to be like that water, what would that take? And so I started to research and experiment with many different things. And what I realized was the most important thing was to have the water be clean. So so many times when you get bottled water, you get any kind of drinking water, the water's not perfectly clean. One thing in the bottles, the plastic actually absorbs into the water. And when you're buying the bottled water, you don't know how long it's been sitting on the shelf. The water's acidic for the most part because they run it through reverse osmosis. It gets it very clean, but it takes everything out of it. All the minerals and all the good stuff is out of it. And that's why it has sort of a bitter taste. Like if you ever drink bottled water and you notice, and then you drink mineralized water, you'll notice a big difference in the taste. That being said, what I noticed with bottled water was that even though it is very clean, it's acidic, and so that also causes it to be more likely to pick up the plastic and the additives in the plastic, and so that gets mixed with the water. And the other problem is if the bottles get warm, like if you put hot bottled water in your car, in the trunk, and the bottles heat up, that plastic goes into the water and you end up drinking that, and it's very carcinogenic, and it's been known to cause breast tumors and other kinds of cancers. So basically the filter that we have now that we've developed over the years is called the Everest Alkaline, and named after Mount Everest, because when I was in Nepal, that was the area that this water would come from, down below. It's not on Mount Everest, but it's in that region. And basically this is the filter that has these different balls in it. And what we've done is we figured out how to also make the oxygen reduction potential very low. So that the lower that is, the more bioavailable the minerals are in the water. So if it's minus 400, that means the resistance in the water is very low, so it actually absorbs into the blood very quickly. So when you drink this water, it doesn't really slosh around in your stomach. Like if you were drinking bottled water that's like reverse osmosis without any minerals added, you notice how you always have that feeling like you're full and you can feel it sloshing in your stomach. With this water, it absorbs right away, so you can drink a lot of it and you don't feel that effect of having water in your stomach. The other thing nice about this filter is it lasts about a year to a year and a half, and sometimes 2 years, depending on how much water you put through it. And the minerals come from New Zealand and from the oceans around Australia and New Zealand, and they harvest the minerals, and then it's baked onto the ceramic. So it's there's a lot of different trace minerals also. The other thing we have is a two-stage fluoride filter. So let's say you already have a water system and you don't want to buy our whole system. You can just get add-ons. So you can get 2 or 3 of these 2 stages, and you can put fluoride filters inside. We also have a 0.2 micron carbon block, which takes out 98% of all the stuff in the water. This comes from Germany, and it's a special process where they put it under heat, they pressurize it and heat it, and so there's not a lot of binders in the carbon. And what causes the pore size to be bigger in the carbon filters is the amount of binder they put in. And the way they do it, when they compress it, when it doesn't have very high temperature and high compression, this is also a synthetic carbon. It's not so the granulars are much smaller, so the openings are smaller. So the filter will take out many more contaminants and even fluoride to some degree. But what's left over, maybe that takes out 40 or 50%, because fluoride's a very small molecule. And it actually binds itself to calcium. So if you have any calcium in your body, the fluoride molecule is going to follow that. And so if the body is absorbing calcium, the fluoride's going to absorb into the bones because the body thinks that it's calcium. Mm-hmm. So it's very treacherous and difficult. And then people end up with osteoporosis and all kinds of bone issues. And they do it mainly for children's teeth, but if you ever noticed, they were putting 0.1 and now it's down to 0.7 because a lot of doctors and health professionals complained to the FDA and the EPA. In fact, my friend Richard wrote a few papers about this. And basically what happened was, because of toothpaste with fluoride and all these other fluoride additives in different water that have fluoride water, kids were getting overexposed and they were getting mottling on their teeth. The thing is too, when we did saliva tests, we found that there was only like 0.02 parts per million of fluoride in the saliva. So that means all that fluoride is going somewhere else in the body. It's not even getting into the teeth. It's getting absorbed before it even gets to the teeth. So, and the main issue is though, why do they need to medicate our water and medicate us without our permission? So if people want to take fluoride, they should have the option to do that. When we asked the water authority that, they said, well, poor people aren't going to have the money to go out and buy fluoride, and they found that if poor children have fluoride treatments, they're going to not have as many cavities. Well, fluoride treatments are when they apply the fluoride directly to the teeth, not when you systemically ingest it into your system. So maybe, I wouldn't do it to my kids, but if they think that that's the right thing to do and they put fluoride on their teeth, maybe that's a benefit. They've done studies and they found in England and in Europe where they banned fluoride, they haven't had it in the water for years. There's no more dental caries or issues with dental issues or problems with kids' teeth than there are with municipalities that do fluoridate the water. Also, with the fluoride issue, since they are going to put it in our water, and it does affect the pineal gland, and the pineal gland is what gives us our intuition and our kind of ability to be creative and spiritual, and if the fluoride is calcifying the pineal gland and causing it to be damaged, then people kind of become dull. In fact, in the concentration camps, they used to put tons of fluoride in the water to dull down the people that were there, that were in the concentration camps. I mean, that's kind of out there to say that, but it's on a more subtle level. I don't think that's basically why they're putting fluoride in the water. I think they're putting fluoride in the water because they make money. Because when they smelt aluminum and different metals, all of that waste product, they have to have a closed system. They can't let it go out in the environment. So they have these. They have to clean it and take all this chemical out, and they need to do something with it. Well, they're even going to put it in a hazardous waste dump. And what they've been doing is loading it in rubber-lined rail cars and sending it out to different municipalities, and then they sell it for $1 or $2 a pound instead of having to pay $2 a pound to have it disposed of. So it's all about how can they get rid of this stuff, and maybe they can make some money doing it. And there are dentists that really believe that fluoridating the water is good for us. I don't know. I mean, I guess they teach that in school, and some people believe what they're taught in school. And a lot of times people don't want to look for themselves and do their own research. So they just go by what, the status quo and what they're being told is right. And, so if, for your own good or, well-being, go do your own research. Go Google detriments of fluoride and start reading about it, and then you can make your own decision. So one thing nice about our system, it fully fits under the sink, and all you see is this faucet, and so all your water comes out of this faucet. There's another item that we have that's on the outer tube. The last thing it goes through is a vortex pipe, and basically the vortex creates a kind of a natural softening of the water, but it also energizes again. And there's been a lot of research done with vortexing water, and they've done like Kirlian photography where they show before and after. They'll take like a water drop and then they'll do a Kirlian picture of that, and you'll see the the energy in the water, how big that energy is from the picture, and then they'll take one after it's been vortex and it'll be 10 times brighter. And so that's also a benefit with our system, is we add that vortex on there. And I do notice a difference in the taste. I was at a water show one year, and this guy came up, and I had my water there with my system. I thought I had the greatest thing in the world. And this guy had a portable vortexing unit. And he took some of my water and poured it through his unit, and I tasted it, and I was like, wow, this really does do something. I mean, it added a softness to it, and it kind of enlivened it. So when I drank it, I could feel it like just in my mouth. It felt really good, like I got some energy from it. So then after that, I thought, well, this is the last piece of this, having this great water system. So that was the other thing we added to that. And these are all metal pipes that are twisted inside with a double spiral. So when the water goes through, it's actually spun, and they've actually done they have pictures of when they'd use these bigger vortex pipes, maybe 2 and 4 inch ones, on farms,